What if the emerging economies, particularly China and its BRICS allies, decided to rewrite the entire rulebook of global finance? What if they challenged the US dollar's long-standing dominance? Well, this isn't some far-off hypothetical scenario. It's happening right now. Under the leadership of Xi Jinping, China is spearheading a global financial shift, using bold currency agreements and diplomatic strategies to create a new economic framework. These efforts are changing the way countries do business, and the Chinese yuan is quickly becoming the centerpiece of this transformation. Could this signal the beginning of the end for the US dollar's reign as the world's reserve currency? Let's take a closer look. At the heart of China's strategy are currency swap agreements. But what exactly does that mean, and why is China pushing so hard for these deals? In simple terms, a currency swap is an agreement between two countries to exchange their currencies directly, allowing them to bypass the US dollar. This arrangement allows trade to happen more efficiently and cost-effectively between two nations without needing the dollar as an intermediary. For China, it's not just about financial convenience. It's a calculated move in its larger global strategy. Imagine two neighboring countries that want to trade goods. Instead of using a third-party currency to make the trade, they decide to exchange goods directly, like swapping apples for oranges. This is similar to what China is doing globally, but on a much bigger scale. In just a few years, China has signed over 40 agreements with other countries, allowing them to trade in their own currencies instead of using the US dollar. These deals, worth over 4 trillion yuan, are shaping the economic future of many nations, especially those in emerging markets, by bringing them closer to China's economic model. But why is China trying to reduce its reliance on the US dollar? The reason lies in the risks of depending too much on the dollar. For decades, the US dollar has been the main currency used for international trade, and the global financial system has been built around American rules. But this makes countries vulnerable to things like exchange rate changes, the threat of US sanctions, and financial instability. By promoting its own currency, the yuan, China is offering an alternative, helping countries build a more stable and independent financial system. China's currency swaps aren't just about money. They are also about building trust. Countries like Thailand and South Korea have signed these deals with China, strengthening their trade relationships. This is sending a strong message to the world, especially to countries in the BRICS group, that the US dollar might not stay dominant forever. Now, let's see how China is using these swaps to challenge the dollar. For years, the US dollar has been the main currency for global trade, used in most international transactions and held by central banks. But China is working to make the yuan a strong alternative, especially for countries in developing economies. One example is China's growing relationship with Pakistan. Recently, China and Pakistan agreed to do most of their trade in yuan instead of the US dollar. This move helps both countries avoid the risks tied to dollar-based trade, like price swings and sanctions. It also allows them to continue trading freely without pressure from Western countries. China's influence is also spreading to South America. Argentina, for instance, has started using the yuan to settle its trade with China. This helps Argentina avoid the dollar's ups and downs and gives them a more stable currency to work with. This shows how the yuan is becoming an attractive option for countries that want more stability in a shaky global economy. As more countries sign currency swap agreements with China, the yuan is gaining ground as a global currency. In Africa, Asia, and Latin America, the yuan is becoming a symbol of a new economic order, where the US dollar isn't the only currency that matters. Every new currency swap agreement strengthens China's influence in the global economy. So what does this mean for the future of global finance? It could be the start of a major shift. As more countries use the yuan and other currencies instead of the US dollar, the dollar's dominance is being questioned. China is at the center of this change, using its growing economic power to reshape the global financial system. This shift also means that power is moving away from traditional Western-led institutions to a more balanced world. The US and its allies no longer control global finance, and emerging markets are finding new ways to engage with the world economy without relying on the dollar. Could we be witnessing the beginning of a new financial era, where the US dollar isn't the top currency anymore? It's hard to say for sure, but China's rise and the growing use of the yuan suggest that the world could be heading toward a more diverse financial system. This shift has big consequences. Countries around the world are already adjusting their financial strategies, and businesses will need to do the same. For countries that embrace the yuan and other currencies, the future might offer more stability and freedom. For the US, this could challenge its ability to control global markets and reduce its power in international politics. One thing is clear, the global financial system is changing. The US dollar's place at the top may not be as secure as it once was. China's economic strategy is pushing us toward a new financial order, and the yuan could play a key role in creating a more balanced global economy. In Africa, several countries are also beginning to use the yuan more. Nations like Nigeria and South Africa, both important members of the BRICS group, are using the yuan more in their trade and business dealings. This change isn't just about money, it's part of a larger shift in global politics. China is becoming a stronger economic partner for countries all over the world, especially in Africa. Take Nigeria, for example. As one of Africa's biggest economies, Nigeria has started allowing businesses to trade directly in yuan with China, instead of using the US dollar. This saves money on exchange fees and protects the country from the dollar's unpredictable changes. South Africa is also using more yuan in trade agreements. This is helping South Africa reduce its dependence on the dollar and strengthen its relationship with China. This shift shows that African nations are looking for ways to stabilize their economies and reduce their reliance on the dollar. These moves reflect a global trend where countries are questioning their dependence on the US dollar. BRICS nations have even discussed creating a new shared currency to further challenge the dollar's role in global trade. This would be a big step in China's plan to reshape the financial system and reduce the US's control over global finance. This change is already making waves in the news. Experts say that the shift away from the dollar is gaining speed. However, the real test will come if countries face financial problems. In times of crisis, China's currency swap agreements could prove to be crucial. Imagine a country on the brink of financial collapse, with no money left to buy important goods. This is where currency swaps with China could be a lifesaver. During Sri Lanka's recent financial crisis, the country used a currency swap agreement with China to avoid running out of money. This allowed Sri Lanka to keep buying the goods it needed without depleting its dollar reserves. More countries are turning to these agreements as a way to protect their economies. For China, offering these swaps shows its growing role as a trusted financial partner in the world. But can the yuan really become the top global currency? It's still too soon to tell, but China's efforts are definitely making an impact. The yuan is no longer just for Chinese trade. It's becoming a tool of China's broader global strategy, challenging the US dollar's dominance. Every new agreement China signs helps the yuan grow in global trade and reduces reliance on the dollar. This is part of China's long-term goal to create a financial system where the US dollar no longer holds all the power. In Africa, the growing influence of the yuan is becoming increasingly visible. Major economies like Nigeria and South Africa are embracing the yuan in their trade with China, as part of a broader strategy to strengthen economic ties with China and reduce their reliance on the US dollar. By settling transactions in yuan, these countries are signaling a desire for greater financial independence and security, giving them more flexibility to navigate the challenges of the global economy. This trend isn't limited to just a few countries. From Kenya to Egypt, more African nations are turning to the yuan in their economic dealings. China's Belt and Road Initiative, aimed at improving infrastructure and trade links between China and Africa, is playing a key role in the yuan's growing adoption. With more Chinese businesses and financial institutions expanding in Africa, the yuan is quickly becoming the currency of choice for many local transactions, further solidifying China's economic presence on the continent. Looking ahead, the real question is not whether the yuan will continue to rise in importance, but how soon it will challenge the US dollar's dominance. Although the dollar remains the world's primary reserve currency for now, the increasing use of the yuan in global trade signals a gradual shift in the international financial landscape. As more countries follow China's lead, we could soon see a world where the yuan plays a much larger role in shaping the global economy. In South Africa, one of China's key BRICS partners, an important shift in economic strategy has already taken place. The country has begun integrating the yuan into its foreign reserves, marking a significant departure from traditional reliance on the US dollar. This move isn't just about diversifying financial holdings. It reflects a broader global trend, with more countries expressing trust in China's trade agreements and financial systems. Even developed economies, like Japan, are beginning to take notice, with Japan signing direct currency swap deals with China, allowing trade between the yen and the yuan without needing the US dollar. These agreements are a crucial milestone, signaling the yuan's growing influence not just in developing economies, but also in the global financial system. This expanding influence could pave the way for the yuan to establish itself as a legitimate global currency, potentially rivaling the dollar. The BRICS nations, which include Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, often discuss the idea of creating a shared currency, and China's success in promoting the yuan as a central currency in global trade is central to these conversations. The economic weight of the BRICS bloc now represents a substantial portion of global GDP, and as China continues to push the yuan's adoption, it could help pave the way for a new regional currency model that challenges the dollar's dominance, reshaping the global financial system in the process. If the yuan continues to rise in prominence, it might even lay the groundwork for a new global reserve currency. But this shift is more than just an economic development. It's part of China's broader strategy to diminish the US dollar's hold over international trade. By promoting the yuan as a central currency, China is positioning itself not just as an economic powerhouse, but as a key player in shaping the future of global finance. A stronger yuan represents more than just trade. It reflects China's growing global influence. This aligns with China's broader vision of becoming the dominant force in global finance, with the power to shape international economic policy. However, there are still challenges ahead. The yuan's capital mobility is limited, and it's not yet as easily convertible as the dollar. Despite these obstacles, China has shown remarkable resilience in overcoming such hurdles in the past. Through its Belt and Road Initiative and strategic currency swaps with partner countries, China is steadily building trust in its financial system. Its trade policies are strengthening the yuan's position, setting the stage for its increased use in global trade. While the path to global dominance may take time, China's commitment to making the yuan a serious competitor to the dollar is clear. As the yuan rises, the real question isn't whether it can rival the dollar, but whether a multi-currency world is emerging. The shift toward a more diverse financial system, where economic diplomacy and currency agreements take center stage, is already unfolding. With more countries adopting the yuan in their trade, we're seeing a rapidly evolving financial landscape, one that may eventually reduce the world's reliance on the US dollar. What does this mean for the future? The rise of the yuan and China's growing currency agreements are more than just financial transactions. They represent a significant geopolitical shift. As more countries move away from the US dollar, a more diversified global financial ecosystem is taking shape. These new currency agreements are helping streamline international trade, offering new avenues for economic stability, and challenging the US dollar's long-standing dominance. Each new agreement and currency swap represents a step toward rewriting the global financial rules. Under Xi Jinping's leadership, China is not simply participating in global finance, it's changing the game. This isn't just a gradual shift, it's a revolution in progress, one that could fundamentally alter the structure of global finance. Is this the dawn of a new financial era? Will BRICS and the yuan take center stage in global trade? As China expands its currency agreements with over 40 countries, the path ahead remains uncertain, but the implications are clear. Could the yuan replace the dollar as the world's dominant currency in the coming decades? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. How long do you think it will take for China to establish the yuan as a serious challenger to the dollar? Will this shift continue to gain momentum, or will obstacles slow its progress? If you'd like to explore this topic further, make sure to subscribe to our channel, hit the bell icon to stay updated, and share this video with friends and colleagues. We appreciate your support, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay tuned.